Temple, what the fuck is up, bitch? I need all my bad bitches and get money niggas to come spend that shit on June 20th at the biggest motherfucking pool party in Temple. And I want to give a special shout
5:30 a.m., a residential street in Miramar, Florida. It's the 4th of July weekend, and most of the neighborhood is asleep. Then, gunfire, rapid, controlled. Not the pop 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 of fireworks that half the block will initially mistake it for. This is a barrage. A lime green Lamborghini Urus, doing maybe 40 miles an hour, drifts through a stop sign and plows into the side of a house. Inside are 3 people. All 3 have been shot. One of them is a 21-year-old content creator with nearly 500,000 followers, known online as DreamDoll Bry. By the time the sun comes up over Broward County, she'll be gone. And 9 days later, so will the cousin sitting next to her. This is Crime Autopsy, and this is the case of Breonna Johnson. Welcome back to Crime Autopsy, the channel where we don't just tell you what happened, we dissect it. Timeline by timeline, frame by frame. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button right now, because we break down cases like this every single week, and you do not want to miss what's coming. And I want you in the comments on this one, because this case has more open questions than answers, and I want to hear your theories. Let's get into it. Before we get into the night that ended her life, you need to understand who Breonna Johnson actually was, because the headlines are going to reduce her to influencer killed in shooting, and that's not the whole story. Breonna went online as DreamDoll Bree, also known as It Girl Bree. You'll see her handle written as It Girl Bree. She built her following the way a lot of creators her age did: lifestyle content, party content, South Florida nightlife. She wasn't some anonymous internet figure. Between TikTok and Instagram, she had close to 500,000 people who followed her life in real time. Some reporting puts the combined number north of 400,000. TikTok alone was north of 370,000. She was known for hosting parties around South Florida, and she had a viral moment with a track called Bend Over, which became a widely used sound on TikTok, the kind of thing that shows up under thousands of other people's videos without them even necessarily knowing who she was. And here's the detail that makes this case hit differently. She wasn't alone that night. Riding with her was her cousin, 21-year-old Arthur Lee Johnson III, known to friends and family as AJ. According to his father, the two of them were raised close, practically like siblings. Keep that in your head, because this isn't just the story of an influencer getting caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's the story of 2 cousins, raised together, who ended up in the same car on the worst night of their lives. Now let's build the timeline. This is where Crime Autopsy earns its name. We're not just going to tell you there was a shooting. We're going to walk you through every stop these 3 people made that night. Because according to investigators, this wasn't a random ambush that came out of nowhere. Something happened earlier in the night, and the question everyone wants answered is, what? Earlier in the evening of July 4th, heading into the early hours of July 5th, Breonna, AJ, and a third man, his identity has not been publicly released, attended a large gathering at a mansion-style Airbnb in the Miramar area. Ring camera footage that later circulated online reportedly shows the green Lamborghini departing the residence. This was, by all accounts, a normal night out, a holiday weekend party. Nothing that stands out as unusual. Yet, here's where it gets interesting. According to Breonna's own family members, after leaving the party, the group stopped at a Shell gas station, and at that gas station, a fight broke out. We don't know, from public reporting, exactly who was involved in that altercation. We don't know if it was Breonna, AJ, the third passenger, or some combination of them against people they didn't know. We don't know if it was verbal or physical. What we do know is that police are treating this stop as significant enough to investigate. Detectives have said they're reviewing surveillance footage and social media posts, including video that appears to show an earlier altercation involving the Lamborghini at a gas station. And here's the detail that's driving every true crime theory about this case. An hour. Not 5 minutes. Not they were followed straight from the gas station. An hour passed between whatever happened at that Shell station and the moment bullets started tearing through that Lamborghini. Now, and this matters, so listen closely, investigators have explicitly said it is whether the fight and the shooting are connected. That's not me hedging for legal reasons. That's the actual on-record position of law enforcement as of the most recent reporting. An hour is long enough for the fight to be completely irrelevant. It's also long enough for someone to make a phone call, get in a car, and go looking. That's the question at the center of this entire case. 5:30 in the morning, Southwest 27th Court and Sunshine Boulevard, Miramar, Florida. The Lamborghini Urus, impossible to miss, painted a fluorescent lime green, is moving through a quiet residential neighborhood. 3 people inside, Brianna, AJ, and the unidentified third male. Surveillance video obtained by local news stations shows what happens next. A vehicle, described in different reports as a white BMW and a white sedan, pulls up alongside the Lamborghini, not behind it, alongside it, driver's side, and then it opens fire. Miramar Police Chief Delrish Moss described what officers heard when they reviewed the ShotSpotter data. Rapid fire. Not a single shot. Not a warning. A sustained burst of gunfire aimed directly into the driver's side of that SUV. All 3 occupants are hit. The Lamborghini doesn't stop. It can't. Whoever's behind the wheel, wounded, keeps the vehicle moving for roughly another block. Neighbors will later say they heard the shots and assumed, because it was the 4th of July weekend, that it was fireworks. Some literally went back to sleep. Others walked outside just in time to see the aftermath. The SUV rolls through a stop sign and crashes into the side of a nearby home. The impact is caught on that home's Ring doorbell camera, footage that would later spread across social media. Remarkably, no one inside the house was hurt. The suspect vehicle doesn't stick around. Witnesses and first responders describe it fleeing southbound. Police radio transmissions obtained by local media describe investigators searching for, quote, a 4-year model of a BMW dark tints white. Now here's where this case turns from a tragedy into a full-blown mystery, because the 911 calls have been released, and they are hard to listen to. One caller, a man, is heard screaming repeatedly, "Please help me, please help me, please, please," while a woman cries in the background. Another caller reports that someone has just crashed into their house and that there's a fight going on outside. A female caller is begging dispatchers to get an ambulance to the scene as fast as possible. 3 people, all shot, 1 home damaged, and in those first chaotic minutes, nobody on that call, not the residents, not the survivors, knows that this is about to become a national headline. Let's talk about who was actually inside that car when the shooting stopped. She was rushed, along with the other 2 victims, to a hospital in critical condition. Some reporting names Miramar Regional Hospital. Other outlets cite Memorial Regional Hospital in Hollywood. She did not survive her injuries. Her death was confirmed by police and by her family within hours, and it didn't take long for the internet to find out. Thousands of comments flooded her TikTok account, from fans who had no idea, 12 hours earlier, that they'd already seen the last video she'd ever post. Brianna's cousin. He survived the initial shooting, critically wounded, and was fighting for his life in the hospital for days. But on a subsequent day, Miramar police confirmed what everyone had been dreading. AJ succumbed to his injuries. He became the second fatality in this case, and that's when his father, Arthur Johnson II, did something that I think is one of the most important parts of this entire story. As rumors started spinning up online, the kind of rumors that always show up under a shooting involving young black men in a luxury car, Arthur Johnson II went public to shut them down. His words, on record. He explicitly said his son had no gang affiliations. Think about what that man is dealing with. He just lost his son. And in the same breath, he's having to defend that son's character against strangers online who've decided they know what happened based on nothing but a photo of a green Lamborghini. A man whose identity has not been publicly released was also shot, struck seriously enough that he ultimately had his jaw wired shut. He has since been released from the hospital. He is, as of the most recent reporting, The only one of the 3 who survived. 2 dead. 1 survivor. 0 arrests. Here's where I want to slow down, because this is the part every true crime channel gets wrong. They speculate. They name names that were never confirmed. I'm not going to do that to you, and I'm not going to do that to this family. Let's lay out exactly what's been confirmed and exactly what hasn't. The shooting happened at approximately 5:30 a.m. on July 5, 2026, in the 2700 block of Sunshine Boulevard, near Southwest 27th Court, Miramar. 3 victims, all shot from a vehicle that pulled alongside them. The suspect vehicle is described as a white sedan or white BMW, believed to be a 4-door, roughly a 4-year-old model, dark tinted windows. The vehicle fled southbound and has not been recovered as of the most recent public updates. No suspect has been named. No suspect description, beyond the vehicle, has been released. No arrests have been made. Investigators are actively reviewing surveillance footage, including whatever exists from the Shell gas station altercation, and are asking the public for any additional home or business surveillance video from the area. Miramar Police Chief Delrish Moss has publicly stated detectives are working to determine whether the Lamborghini was followed before the shooting even happened. A tip line has been established through Broward County Crime Stoppers, with a reward of up to $5,000 for information leading to an arrest. Whether the gas station altercation is actually connected to the shooting. Police have said this explicitly. It's unclear. Who was involved in that altercation and on which side? The identity or motive of the shooter or shooters. Whether Brianna, AJ, or the 3rd passenger were specifically targeted, or whether this was some kind of case of mistaken identity. Any connection to the earlier Airbnb party. That's it. That's the entirety of the public record right now. Everything else you might see floating around, gang theories, jealousy theories, love triangle theories, none of that has been confirmed by police, and frankly, most of it appears to be pure internet speculation stacked on top of a family's tragedy. So let's use our brains here for a second, because this is genuinely one of those cases with a real structural mystery at its center. I'm not going to hand you a conclusion, because there isn't one yet. But I want to walk through the actual logical puzzle investigators are facing. The chief himself raised this. If the shooter simply happened to spot a lime green Lamborghini Urus, a car that is, by design, impossible to miss, and decided to rob or attack whoever was inside, that's one kind of crime, opportunistic. But the way the surveillance video is described, a car pulling up specifically alongside the driver's side and unloading in a sustained burst, suggests something more deliberate. That's not typically how a random robbery goes down. That looks like an ambush. An hour is the detail that keeps nagging at this case. If someone at that Shell station clocked the car, clocked the people in it, and made a call, an hour is more than enough time to gather a weapon, get in a vehicle, and set up along a route. On the other hand, an hour is also long enough for the group to have driven well clear of anyone from that altercation, meaning whoever found them later either already knew where they were headed or got extremely lucky finding a specific, extremely conspicuous car in the pre-dawn dark. A white BMW-style sedan with dark tints, 4-door, several years old. That is one of the most common vehicle profiles on the road in South Florida. It's almost the perfect getaway car precisely because it's so unremarkable. That's likely part of why, more than a week later, it still hasn't turned up. This is where I think the most human part of this story lives. AJ's father went out of his way to say his son wasn't a troublemaker, wasn't affiliated with anything. That's not a neutral statement. That tells you he was already hearing a specific narrative forming online, and he felt the need to push back on it publicly, while burying his son. Whatever he believes actually caused this, it clearly isn't the story some corners of the internet decided to run with within 48 hours of the shooting. I want to be really direct with you here. We don't know who did this. Nobody watching this video knows who did this. If you see comment sections, on this video or anywhere else, confidently naming a suspect, that is not information, that's speculation, and it can do real damage to real people. If you actually have information about this case, it doesn't belong in a YouTube comment section. It belongs with Broward County Crime Stoppers at 954-493-8477, where it can be submitted anonymously and may qualify for that reward. I want to zoom out for a second, because this case doesn't exist in a vacuum, and I think that's part of why it's resonated the way it has. There's been a disturbing pattern this year of young social media personalities, especially young women, becoming victims of violence, and it sparked a broader conversation about the risks that come with visibility. Being an influencer means your location, your routines, your car, your face are all public in a way most people simply aren't. It doesn't mean that's what happened here. We have no evidence Brianna was targeted of her online presence. But it's part of why cases like this generate so much attention and so much fear within these online communities. The lime green Lamborghini itself became almost a character in this story. It's the kind of vehicle that makes you visible everywhere you go, for better and for worse. Whether that visibility factored into what happened on Sunshine Boulevard is something only the investigation can eventually answer. What we do know is this: two families are burying two 21-year-olds who were raised like brother and sister. A community that Chief Moss and local residents describe as tight-knit has been left rattled, afraid, and asking the same question we are. As of the most recent public updates, no arrests have been made. The suspect vehicle has not been recovered. Miramar police have not released a confirmed motive. Detectives continue to review surveillance footage from the Airbnb, the gas station, and the surrounding neighborhood. The Crime Stoppers tip line remains open and a reward is still on the table. A GoFundMe has been established by loved ones to help with funeral and related expenses. This is very much an open case, and that's exactly why we're covering it. Not to sensationalize a tragedy, but because cases like this get solved when more eyes are on them, when more people who might have seen something realize what they saw actually matters. So, was DreamDoll Bree caught in the middle of a fight that had nothing to do with her? Was that Shell gas station altercation the spark that led directly to an ambush an hour later? Or is Miramar PD right to keep those two events separate until the evidence says otherwise? I don't have the answer. Nobody outside that investigation does yet, but I want to know what think. Drop your theory in the comments below, and if you've got information on the Broward BMW description, or anything from that Shell station that night, don't just comment it here, take it straight to Crime Stoppers. If this breakdown helped you actually understand this case instead of just reacting to a headline, that's exactly what this channel is for. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, because the moment there's an arrest in this case, and cases like this usually do get solved, we will be back here to break down every detail. This has been Crime Autopsy. Stay safe out there. We'll see you in the next one.